Hello, beautiful people. Today we have our green tea ready. Also, we have the file system on Windows. The file system used in modern versions of Windows is the New Technology File System, or simply NTFS. If you go here, you can read more from the Microsoft documentation, which I highly recommend if you want to read more about this, or you just want to develop further your knowledge about it, or you want to change settings or something. You can jump on Microsoft documentation. Before NTFS, there was FAT16 and FAT32. File allocation table, and HPFS, high performance file system. You still see FAT partitions in use today. For example, you typically see FAT partitions in USB devices, micro SD cards, etc., but traditionally not on personal Windows computers, laptops, or Windows servers. NTFS is known as a journaling file system. In case of a failure, the file system can automatically repair the folders, files on disk using information stored in a log file. This function is not possible with a FAT. NTFS addresses many of the limitations of the previous file system, such as supports files larger than 4 GB, sets specific permissions on folders and file compressions, and encryption file system, or EFS. If you're running Windows, what is the file system your Windows installation is using? You can check the properties, right click of the driver your operating system is installed on, typically a C drive. And you can see it here, click on File Explorer, go to this PC, right click on C, properties, and you can see it, file system, NTFS. You can read Microsoft's official documentation on FAT, HPFS, and NTHS here. Also, again, you can read much more about them right on Microsoft documentation page. Let's speak briefly on some features that are specific to NTFS. On NTFS volumes, you can set permissions that grant or deny access to files and folders. The permissions are full control, modify, read and execute, list folder contents, read and write. The below images list the meaning of each permission, on how to apply to a file and a folder. Credit to Microsoft again. This screenshot is taken from Microsoft documentation. And here you can see whatever the specific permission does, more in detail. For the read permission, the meaning for folder is that it permits viewing and listing of files and subfolders, but the meaning for a file permits viewing or accessing of the file contents. The write permission permits adding of files and subfolders, and for files means that permits writing to a file. Read and execute permissions. The meaning for a folder is that it permits viewing and listing of files and subfolders, as well as executing of files inherited by files and folders, and meaning for the file means that permits viewing and accessing of the files contents, as well as executing of the file. List folder contents permits viewing and listing of files and subfolders, as well as executing of files inherited by folders only. Meaning of file, it's not applicable. Modifying permission permits reading and writing of files and subfolders, allow deletion of the folders. And for the file, permits reading and writing of the file, allow deletion of the file. Full control permits reading, writing, changing, and deleting of files and subfolders. And meaning for the file, it permits reading, writing, changing, and deleting of the file. You have to be really cautious with full control permission. How can you view the permissions for a file or a folder? And here again, you can see it goes through each step to see the permission for user for specific folders. Right click the file or a folder you want to check for permission. So you have a folder or a file, you right click it. From the context menu, you select properties. Within properties, click on Security tab. Here you can see each tab. And here you can see Windows Properties. So after you right click Windows, you go Properties, you will be brought to this one. And you click Security tab. In the group or user's name list, group or user name, select the user computer or a group whose permission you want to view. Here we have selected the group for users. In the below image, you can see the permissions for the users group for the Windows folder. Yes, and we saw that. We have read and execution, list folder contents, and read. Refer to the Microsoft documentation to get a better understanding of the NTFS permissions for special permissions. Another feature of NTFS is alternate data streams, ADS. Alternate data streams is a file attribute specific to Windows NTFS new technology file system. Every file has at least one data stream, $data, and ADS allows files to contain more than one stream of data. Natively, Windows Explorer doesn't display ADS to the user. There are third-party executables that can be used to view this data, but PowerShell gives you the ability to view ADS for files. From a security perspective, malware writers have used ADS to hide the data. Not all its uses are malicious. For example, when you download a file from the internet, there are identifiers written to ADS to identify that the file was downloaded from the internet. To learn more about ADS, refer to the following link from Malwarebytes here. Bonus: if you wish to interact hands-on with ADS, I suggest exploring day 21 of Advent of Cyber 2. We will do this. Answer the questions below. What is the meaning of NTFS? New Technology File System.